Stay together now, girls. Keep in line and don't step in any puddles. Just because church is over is no excuse to soil your nice dresses. Well, you guys have washing and maids, right? We're arrogant enough to do that. The air smells very different when it has rained. Does it? It smells like London. There are too many people and chimneys and horses. I keep lavender sachets in my room so that I can smell the gardens even when I'm away from home. To each their own, I guess. They're not much. My Aunt Eliza sent me the flowers. I stitched them myself. We have lavender in India too. And she likes bringing up India a lot. But isn't lavender an English flower? I thought everything in India would be saffron and spices. I don't know. I'm feeling an overwhelming sense of ignorance coming over me. Perhaps the British soldiers brought lavender with them so that they could smell the gardens too. Do you think that soldiers could be homesick? Of course, soldiers must be very brave and bear all sorts of dangers and hardships, but that doesn't mean they don't have feelings. The idea that soldiers, no, they like guns, mate. They're just sitting on there masturbating to their guns. They have no feelings. That's how Ermengarde's world works. And we must be brave too, even when we are far from the homes and the people that we love. A carriage passed alongside Miss Minchin's students as they walked, seemingly packed to the walls with children. 8 of them. It was packed. There were so many There was 8 people. Siblings all, and such a giggling mass of blonde curls and rosy cheeks that Sarah has never seen before. Their merriment was infectious. Class? Surely you must have seen that many people in class giggling or whatever. And Sarah found that a smile had come unexpectedly to her face. Oh, God. Are we going to speak to a poor person? But we're rich! We're being brought up in rich people! Oh, we can't speak to poor people. Disgusting. It came as a slight shock when the carriage moved along and revealed a sight previously hidden on the other side of the street. A little beggar child in a heap of rags too dirty for Sarah to tell if it was a boy or a girl. Pricked by the sight, Sarah stepped out of line and carried her little coin purse to the child. Sarah, wait, where are you going? We're being a knob. This is how children get kidnapped. Here is the 6pence. Go and buy yourself something warm. She hurried back into the fountain, but not before her steps were noticed by Miss Minchin. Sarah Crewe, you must stay in line. If you go rushing off, you put yourself at risk. I should not tell you that your father... I should not like to tell your father that you were struck down by a cab horse in the road. She's right as well. We were just randomly like, hey, I'm just going to break off, lol. I only wish to... Generosity is a virtue, but it is not wise or safe to come in close with contact with creatures of the street. Oh, man. Yeah, sure, that's one way to say about it, I guess. You must be careful to clean yourself thoroughly when we return to school. Oh, boy. What a thing to say. Oh, you must clean yourself thoroughly. Man, you never know what those disgusting poor people are doing. Oh, you might catch one of those poor people diseases. Yes, Miss Minchin. Sarah looked back, but the beggar child had already disappeared from sight. How strange that one child should be hungry and dirty in the streets while another rides in a fine carriage and knows nothing but joy and laughter. And all these things happen quite by accident because of the way that we are born. Oh, how philosophical. Jesus. Right, so far I'm honestly unsure who I should keep talking to, because there are a lot of people who are just unlikable. Sympathy, we need more sympathy. What one is sympathy? The love heart one, of course it is. Well, tea party. Nah, also, so most things here have a heart in. I think we can keep this, right? Do we have lots of knowledge and patience? What one's patience? That one. Okay, so that's a 1 in 3 chance. Yeah, you can go now. No chance, 1 in 3, 1 in... Okay, cool, we can just stick with this. Of course, we'll get the only ones with time in them, though, of course. There's such a small chance of us getting that much patience. There was such a small chance. We got all of it. Oh, man. Even from a distance, there was no mistaking Lottie's shrill little voice. Can we not? I want to hold the kitty. don't be ridiculous. Sarah came into the room to find Lavinia perched primly on her window seat, looking down at the smaller child whose lip was beginning to wobble. Tybalt is in my lap, and he is perfectly content here. Listen, you can hear him purr. That is because I am stroking him, and he likes me. It's a fucking cat. They're a fickle lot. They will like anyone who will give them food and or stroking. Like, they'll love anyone. I want to hold the kitty. Keep your sticky little fingers away from his fur. Lottie's brow furrowed in fierce determination. Ignoring Lavinia's command, she reached out to pick up the cat. Lavinia slapped Lottie's hand away. The sudden movement jostled Tybalt out of his comfortable doze. With a parting squeeze of his claws, he leapt from Lavinia's legs and hurried out of the room. Now look what you've done, you little brat. He scratched me, and if he's damaged my dress... It scratched you because you're mean. Little children. They say stuff they shouldn't say all the time. Oh, I bet their parents are now going to have to send in a... No, she didn't mean it. Please don't sue us and kick her out. You wouldn't even let me touch it. It isn't fair, it isn't. A cat is not a rag doll. You cannot scratch and tug as you please, or it will bite your hand. Is that too difficult for a child of 8 to understand? Wait, she's 8? Holy shit, I thought we were like 9. Oh, I have no idea how old everyone else is then. She cannot help being younger any more than we can help being older. If she is 8, she is 8, and she will be 9 the next year, and 10 the one after that, and 12 in the 12 years she will be 20, and that is quite grand. Dear me, how we can calculate. Oh wow, I used all of my counting abilities. I don't want to be 20. You will be when you are, and you won't be while you aren't. So there is no reason to want or not to want. No. Be quiet or I shall slap your face. Fucking hell, that's a bit violent. You mustn't. Lottie looked into Lavinia's blazing eyes, then ran from the room, wailing at the unfairness of it all. You ought not to baby her, Sarah. She must learn that she can't have everything her own way. She must also learn that, dicks exist. So that's a thing. Privately, Sarah thought that Lottie was not the only student at the school who might need to learn that lesson. It's a subtle burn, isn't it? It's not a huge one. Alright, we'll see what she's like. And then we'll probably just focus on these two, honestly. That afternoon, Jessie came to Sarah's room for tea. The tea itself, though, seemed to hold little interest for her. I was hoping you could tell me more about your life in India. It all sounds very interesting and different to... Hang on a minute, aren't you a fucking follower of someone who says that India shouldn't be talked about? Betraying each other behind one another's backs. Already. I'm only learning the ways that was different by being here. My papa and I lived in a bungalow that was as large as this school, but wide rather than tall. There was a veranda where we could sit in the breeze and watch the sunset. The summers are so hot that many children of British parents become ill, so we are taken away to hill stations. What's this sitar music? Jesus Christ. Do we have our own sitar player sitting in the background? We're so rich that every time we speak about India, there's just some guy with a very long beard being like, what was that, mistress? You would like me to play? Okay. That's how you play a sitar, right? You play it as if you're making some sort of obscene claw gesture. Yeah. Which are towns in the mountains near lakes where it is cooler. I had many toys and pets and servants that would salam to me and call me Miss Sahib. I suppose that is because we are rich, but it is all because of the life I knew. Did you ride elephants and leopards? Camelopards? They used to have weird names for that. And tigers? I have never seen a camelopard. There are elephants in India, of course, but they are mostly used to carry heavy equipment or for Rajahs to ride in parade. I've seen them, but I've never ridden one. And tigers are too dangerous to see up close. Anyone who tried to ride one would be clawed and eaten. Yeah, funny that. They attack villages sometimes and carry off the native children. It's terrible. Oh, truly, our sympathy is overpouring. Man, we're cold. We didn't give a fuck. One even attacked the outpost my papa was stationed at, and he had to shoot it to defend the citizens. How exciting. He is very brave. Fuck's sake, you two. I miss him so. I hope he does not do anything too brave while I am not there to look after him. Yeah, well. Was it very frightening travelling so far? No, there were many other people on the ship with us. It was strange and not so comfortable as this room, but it did not feel dangerous. It would have been much harder if my papa were not with me. When young boys are sent back to England, they are sometimes made to travel with the regiments, and no family at all. Those disgusting poor people again. A pleasant combination makes a great deal of difference. You should always have one. Jessie pressed her hands together on her lap, the motion giving a shy lift to her shoulders. I would very much like to travel the world when I am older, but I don't know if I will ever have the chance. You'll probably have the chance. I don't see why you wouldn't have the chance. Whatever. Do you think you will travel, Sarah? No. If I'm in control of the character, we're playing it boring. What was that? Adventure? No, I'm perfectly happy here, thank you very much. Now we'll go away, of course. I do want to return to India as soon as I am old enough, and I think I should like to visit France someday. I haven't thought of beyond that. It is a very big world. I suppose it would be a shame to live one's entire life in only a small part of it. I am happy never leaving Europe. I have twice, and indifferent. Jessie gently swirled the liquid inside her teacups, her eyes locked on the little ripples and waves. Some people feel that London is the centre of the world, and that once you're here, there is nowhere better in all the world for you to go. Why would you want more than perfection? Oh man, I think it's about a sense of adventure, but I sort of agree. I'm sure London is very nice, but the cup trembled in Jessie's hands. Oh, I'm sorry, I've spilled a bit of my tea. How silly of me. Please tell me more stories about India. All right. Oh man. So, she's quite inquisitive. Would you like me to sit in front of the mirror while I brush your hair, mademoiselle? No, I don't think so, not by the mirror. You see, it is nice to sit and think while you run the brush through my hair. Sometimes I remember stories or think of things I want to say to someone else. Other times it helps me relax. It must be like that for Tybalt when someone is petting him. Tybalt doesn't give a fuck. He's a cat. He is sitting there, at the best that he is thinking of, fucking hell, look at this jammy life I've got for myself. There are stray cats which are outside, not eating, and here I am, being spoiled by little girls, being stroked all of the time, being given food when I want. Mate, Tybalt's living the dream. He's not thinking there, thinking of stories. But if I were looking into the mirror, then the Sarah in the mirror looking back at me, and we should... What? If I were looking into the mirror, then the Sarah in the mirror would be looking back at me. Okay, that makes sense. And we should have to pay attention to each other, or else it might be thought impolite. I mean, have you asked Sarah? I'm pretty sure she might be okay with it. Mariette laughed in the back of her throat. That is as you wish. I had thought of doing something different with your hair, and if you could see, then you would know more quickly. If you thought yes or no, I could change it if you did not like it. Well, I think that it's better to look at it when it's finished. If you stop reading a book in the middle, you might have the wrong idea of what it's all about. I think if you don't know what a book's about, by the time you get to the middle of it, I mean, you're Ermengarde, apparently. Then I will show you when I am done. Mariette is so kind. I would be terribly lonely in these rooms without her. This school is full of other girls, but they are like me, guests of Miss Minchin. We live in the same house, but they are not part of my household. Mariette is the only person who belongs to me. It is nice to sit and think while she brushes my hair, and she has a better way with it than my old Ayar did, but I do miss my papa so. If he were here, if he were coming to visit me as some girls' parents do, how happy my life would be. I wonder where my papa is now. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak. You could have just thought it. We've been thinking for so long, and now our maid's here, we're just sort of speaking aloud. She could be like a spy for all we know. French people, never trust them. No, it is good, mademoiselle, you should speak your thoughts. Your father sailed many weeks ago. By now he is in India. Yes, home and safe, and thinking how different the house seems without your footsteps. He better fucking write, that's all I'm saying. Oh, I don't want to think of him sad and lonely. It is right that he misses you and you miss him. That is how things should be, but that does not mean your life is nothing but sadness, does it? No, I do not think I am melancholy. I would not wish to be. I enjoy my books and my friends. So you see, your papa, he will be lonely, but he will also feel other things. He will live his life, but he will also think of you. I believe you will hear from him soon. Oh, I hope you are right. Don't tell me that there's some sort of, like, random plot twist where he's just dead. You know, that would be terrible. A tiger attacked him. Oh, no. We've been kicked out of the school. That's probably not going to happen. That would be a shocking twist. No, you must be right. My papa will write me letters as soon as the ships can carry them, and I will treasure his words. And I do hope that my papa has a friend to care for him as Mariette cares for me. Why would he not? He fucking sent you a maid. Why would he himself not have a maid? Oh man, my fucking cough. I do apologise. We need belief. So we'll write in our diary. We don't need that. We need sympathy as well. Sympathy is love hearts, right? So what's that? There's one with like 3 love hearts. So tea party, right? Because the other things are just so high. We don't need any of it. And this way, we have a good chance of getting it. Belief. Man, this guy fucking hates me. Oh, that's a good one. That's patience and belief. Oh, all of the sympathy. A bit more belief and a bit more belief. Oh, we are so strong at the moment. Our vigor, man. While Sarah was walking through the school, she heard a great commotion coming from a nearby room. The first high-pitched shriek made her startle. Concerned that one of the younger girls might have injured herself, Sarah was a quiet and solemn girl herself, but made no judgment against those whose temperaments led them to cry out loudly when they were in pain. However, the wailing went on and on, more angry than miserable, and the voice was recognisably Lottie's. It's probably nothing. Like, I'm gonna call it now. It's fucking nothing. Sarah came closer and began to make out the accompaniment of frustrated adult that had been drowned out by childish tantrum. What are you crying for? There's nothing wrong with you. I haven't gotten any, Mum. What? Stop crying, for heaven's sake. Haven't gotten any. You ought to be whipped. You shall be whipped if you do not hush, you naughty child. Stop it. Stop it. Lottie wailed more loudly than ever. Miss Minchin emerged from the room, her hands pressed to the sides of her head, and paused when she saw Sarah lingering outside. Oh, dear Sarah. Miss Minchin's attempt at producing a friendly smile was not at all convincing. Lottie's roars continued unabated. With each burst of sound made Minchin's shoulders twitch. I stopped because I knew it was Lottie, and I thought perhaps, just perhaps, I could make her quiet. May I try, Miss Minchin? She's just going to say, fine, we're going to walk in there. There, you quiet now! We shouldn't do that. If you can quiet that, you are a clever child. Dreadful thing, we may not be able to keep her. But you are clever in everything, my dear. I dare say you can manage her. Go in. When Sarah entered the room, Lottie was lying upon the floor, screaming and kicking her small fat legs violently. Harsh! Lots of crying. Sarah stood by the howling, furious child for a few moments and looked down at her without saying anything. Then she sat down on the floor beside her and waited. Except for Lottie's angry screams, the room was quite quiet. Then it's quite loud. This was a new state of affairs for Lottie, who was accustomed to hearing other people protest and implore and command and coax by her turns. To find that the only person near her did not seem to mind in the least how she kicked and screamed was unusual and made it necessary for her to pause her sobbing in order to see what was going on. She opened her tight shut, streaming eyes to see who this person was and found it was only another little girl. But it was one who owned Emily and all the nice things. Sarah looked at Lottie quite curiously, but said nothing. Lottie sucked in a gulp of air, but the noise she made sounded rather half-hearted. I haven't had any, Mama. I don't know what you mean. Neither have I. Lottie blinked rapidly at this unexpected answer. Her legs and arms ceased their kicking and lay flat against the floor. Where is your Mama? She went to heaven. You could just say she's not fucking around. I mean, you're speaking to an 8-year-old, for fuck's sake. She went to heaven, but I'm sure she comes out sometimes to see me, though I don't see her. So does yours. Perhaps they can both see us now. Perhaps they are both in this room. Here! Lottie sat bolt upright and looked around. Seeing nothing, her face began to scrunch up again. We can't see the people who live in heaven even when they come to visit us. They travel like wind or sunlight. You can only feel them for a moment if they touch you, and then they're gone. They can go anywhere in an instant, but most of the time they stay up above. Their land is full of lilies, fields and fields of lilies. This ain't my fucking heaven. My heaven contains like 15 pints of lager. And when the soft wind blows over them, it wafts the scent of them into the air. That sounds horrible. I don't want to live there. And everybody always breathes it because that soft wind is always blowing, wind and sunlight, and the streets are always shining. And little children run about in the lily fields and gather armfuls of them and laugh, to make little wreaths to wear on their heads, or spin cloaks and dresses of soft lily petals. The petals never go dry or brown, but So basically, we're cheering someone up through the power of naivety. Great. Tired of them, they toss petals into the air and they turn into clouds. Lottie had by now quite forgotten to cry and was leaning forward, hanging on every word that Sarah spoke. She's doing that fucking Bugs Bunny face. In that shining city, people are never tired, however far they walk. I thought that said fat for a second. I was like, fuck me, she's 8, stop, that's harsh. They can float anywhere they like. And there are walls made of pearl and gold all round the city, and they are low enough for the people to go and lean on them and look down to the earth and smile. From those walls, sometimes they dance down to visit us. Other times they whisper beautiful messages in the wind and hope that someday we will hear them. Oh, I want to go there. I haven't any mama here. Sarah saw the danger signal and took hold of Lottie's hand with a coaxing little laugh. I will be your mama in this school. We will play that you are my little girl, and Emily shall be your sister. Shall she? Yes, let us go and tell her, and then I will wash your face and brush your hair, and both of us shall have a little bit more family. Sorry about that. I just needed to bash my fucking head against the table!